Hi guys, in today's video I share with you equipment that I use to photograph wedding ceremonies. Hi guys, if we have not met before, my name is Yana Shellman and I'm a wedding photographer in Philadelphia and New Jersey area. And as I just mentioned to you, today I would like to share with you exact equipment that I'm using to photograph wedding ceremonies. Wedding ceremonies are probably the most stressful time of the day, probably just because it happens once and it never repeats itself. So I feel like choosing your equipment is very important, because then sometimes you might not have time to switch from one lens to another. There was times when I only had one body that I would shoot on, and I would have a backup camera like Rebel something that would be my backup, but I would be switching from one lens to another, and it was I was definitely losing some of the moments. However, currently I do have two bodies that are Canon 5D Mark IIIs, which are amazing and I love them very much. And in 99% of chances, I will choose my 35 as my wide angle lens, and 100% of chances and 100% of times I will use my Canon 70 to 200 2.8. I will use that as my zoom lens. And that's right, this one is Canon 35 1.4. So zoom lens is a little bit, let me just talk about this because it's just one option for me. I do not have any other zoom lenses. I know some people have 135 for Canon. It would be 135 or 100 or 85. For me, I only own 70 to 200 as my zoom lens, and I really enjoy the performance. First of all, it's 2.8, the aperture is 2.8, which is average because prime lenses would go lower, and it would be amazing to get more light, especially in the dark churches or reception halls. It would be wonderful to get a little bit more aperture. However, 2.8 is still very good, and the zoom capabilities are amazing. You can be at the very end of the ceremony spot or somewhere at the very entrance to the ceremony, and you still can zoom in and see the full body bride and groom, or even the close-up if the space is a little bit smaller. So yes, 70 to 200. I like this lens so much just because of how much zoom it can give me and how much closer I can be when I'm still so far away. So I feel like this lens is amazing for ceremonies. However, I do not think that you can photograph a wedding ceremony with just zoom lens, because there's so much happening at all times that I feel like you do need to be able to switch between the bride and the father walking down the aisle to photographing groom's reaction right there and mom's reaction right here, right in front of you, basically a foot away. And with 70 to 200, you will not be able to do this because it does not focus until you step away from an object far away enough. I'm not exactly sure how many feet, but I know that you have to be multiple feet away from an object for it to focus, otherwise it doesn't focus. Where this lens 35, you can be super close. Again, I did not measure, but I just know that you can be super close to an object and it's going to focus well and give you a nice crisp photo. So 35, I use my 35 for whenever the ceremony spot is, whenever the aisle is a little bit shorter, I can just stick with my 35 and photograph everyone coming down to the front of the room, photograph the groom's reactions, parent reactions, giving the bride away, and everything that is happening right here when I'm still at the front. And then I will probably use my 70 to 200 to grab some photos from the back of the room or the back of the spot. But then yes, 35 is amazing again for getting the emotional photos of the guests and parents and bridal party once you're close to them, as well as nice and beautiful wide photos of the ceremony. just so that you can see the whole view and what the look was. And I do not think that one or the other lens can be used exclusively unless the space is super tiny. But even then, with ceremonies, you need to be respectful of everyone's space, and you do want to get the intimate photo of the groom looking at the bride and the bride looking at the groom, or them holding the hands, but you do not want to be right super close to them. So I feel like the zoom lens allows you to do just that, when 35 or like wider lens would allow you to get a little bit more of the view of the whole room. In a case where the room is small and I feel like I cannot work with it in well enough with a 35, there were a few occasions where I would use my Canon 24-70 so that I can really zoom out and get a full body shot and full ceremony room view with just one photo. But again, this is not my favorite choice because of the distortion and because it's a little bit slower than either one of these lenses. It's even though it was, you would think it should be fast, but it is not. 35 again is like way faster than anything else, and 7200 is still pretty fast and does a really good job at photographing. I hope this video was helpful to you, and if you're curious to know about equipment that I'm using throughout any other part of the wedding day, check out the description of this video below, because there will be a set of previous videos that I have already shared, and if you're watching this video a little bit later, there also will be everything else, all other videos talking about what equipment I use on every part of the wedding day. If you have any other questions, wedding photography related or business related, feel free to comment below this video with your question or request, or message me on social media and I would love to tackle your question. Have a wonderful day, you guys. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye.